Here we go. So there was an anti-lockdown protest over the weekend in London. They say over 40,000 people attended, but of course the despicable mainstream media lowered this to 15. The mainstream media are also having kittens about the reckless protesters, about the thugs that took to the streets. All I could see was a woman that looked in her 50s being thrown to the floor by a copper. Who was the thug there, eh? The lady in her 50s? Or the aggressive, thug-looking copper? But haven't we had enough? Those people who took to the streets are the very people who are losing everything because of a runny nose. They're losing their businesses. They're just trying to survive. They're real people who are being devastated by the actions of this government. These people have no agenda other than to get their lives back. Unlike the mainstream media, who have a massive agenda. They want to keep us in fear, and they want to push fear as much as they can. Oh, and they want to push the vaccine as well, for billionaires like Bill Gates. Millionaire mainstream media puppets push fear all day long and tell us to stay at home while they live comfortably behind their gated properties without a worry in the world. Never forget that 81 is the average age of a person dying with COVID. 81! And they all have several underlying health issues. And even these figures are dubious because of the way they're reported. Remember, if you test positive for COVID and die up to 28 days later of, say, cancer, or you're run over by a bus, you will still have COVID-19 on your death certificate. Before August, if you tested positive for COVID, say in February, you recovered and then died in July of being run over, your death would still count as a COVID death. It's all bollocks. They've spun us a yarn. They're lying to us. They're inflating the figures to make it look worse than what it is so that they've got an excuse to clamp down on us. Boris has turned from a liberal into a dictator in a few short months because he's being advised by his scientific advisors, most of whom are connected to Bill Gates in some way and are on the take from the very vaccine companies that are supposedly making the vaccine. Come on, people, stop being utterly compliant. Do you want another lockdown and more lives destroyed because a few people in the 80s with loads of underlying health issues died? That useless pipsqueak Sadiq Khan also got involved in damning the protesters at the weekend. This is what he said on Twitter at the weekend. "This is unacceptable. I urge all protesters to leave now. Large gatherings are banned for a reason. You are putting the safety of our city at risk." However, when the Black Lives Matter protests were going on, he said this: "To the thousands of Londoners who protested peacefully today, I stand with you and I share your anger and pain." Nothing about being reckless or unacceptable when they were on the streets, or same with Extinction Rebellion. When Extinction Rebellion take to the streets, it's all praise and well done, and seemingly COVID doesn't transmit during Black Lives Matter or Extinction Rebellion protests. But an anti-lockdown protest is bad and invites the spread of COVID. Utter bullshit. Everyone I speak to has had enough. If it goes on too much longer, there's going to be civil unrest. Look at Manchester University. They've locked down 1,700 to 2,000 students because about 100 students have tested positive for COVID-19, but not one of those people has been hospitalised. Yet despite this, they won't even let these people exercise or even leave the campus to buy food. They are literally prisoners because they might get a runny nose. Remember, 81 is the average age of a person dying with COVID. 81. So kids in their late teens are on house arrest or student accommodation arrest because of a disease that doesn't affect them, and they're not even allowed to buy food. How long can this go on? It's all an utter joke. But unless we make a stand, this will go on until they get their dirty, grubby little vaccine into all of us. Seriously, people, we gotta grow a pair.